Thank you for joining us on Matters Arising. We have a lot of headlines to talk about in details here. Hopefully we'll have enough time to go through all. But let's just start from the one that's really hitting our nation. If that is the only thing we discuss today, I mean, we would have done well if our voices can get to them, and probably the things we are going to talk about appeals to the judiciary. El-Rufai slams judiciary. I mean, he just says something that is very, very remarkable. Okay, how justice is no longer available. Our court has now changed to a place of administration of law instead of administration of justice. No, you see the way they shout today, that's not the law, this is not the law. I mean, you know, when we say the law is eventually, it was actually created eventually, no matter how sacrosanct it is, to serve this purpose. And that is why we as humans, we have legislature who have the duty to change these laws if they are not serving us. Meaning that at the end of the day, what we wanted was justice. What was intended, the intention of the law was justice. I don't know if you get me, Picky. Let me start from here.
Now, thank you for having me here today. Now, it's really something that someone could actually just sit down and cry over in this country, especially the administration of justice that we want, but it's no longer justice.
It's not administration,
it's not
of,
administration
law.
of law. Now, we've seen a subversion most of the time of this justice that we are supposed to get, and we don't get it. And it's supposed to be like a sacred, profession or line of governance, where every man will always say, at least the court is the hope of the common man. But the common man doesn't get it anymore. Farotimi tried to talk about it. He was gagged. His book was taken off the shelf. I mean, the only reason Nigeria could not happen to Farotimi was because of the people that came up and cried for him. Now, who would cry for the whole country? Now, I also want to take a two-edged sword to look at the other side of it. Now, for example, what make the judiciary what they are today? The same people that made the judiciary what they are today are the same people that, even though justice is served, they don't obey it anymore.
Okay, I'm going to come back to you on that. It appears you have a lot to say. Philip, no matter what we have in print as our law, I usually, which I think is the position in law administration or justice administration, the pronouncement of the judge is actually the law.
Yes.
Since these people are saddled with this sacred responsibility, knowing that the pronouncement of the legislature, in as much as everybody will begin to follow it, it starts where we begin to disagree with what is there. The only thing we must obey is the pronouncement of the judge. Knowing that this is sacrosanct and this is sacred, how do we redeem our judiciary?
Well, that's a tall order for us, because what has happened to us is how will I put it? The judiciary is more like a dead end. You know, the judges, as it were, in the olden days, they are next to God.
Yeah.
We see them as God representatives, sitting over affairs of men that comes to them. You know, it's only in this country that a matter will go from a trial court to the Supreme Court. A very crucial matter that involves political parties, involve offices of the secretary of a national party, involve the offices of the chairman and other offices. All the Supreme Court could say to us is that the court has no jurisdiction.
Go back.
It's a matter. It's
not justice.
The court has no jurisdiction over their internal matter. But again, the court is put in place to the fact that when people have disagreement and when they cannot resolve their issue within themselves, they need to come to the court for that purpose of resolution. If the court is not saying that
who will resolve it for them?
We don't have the jurisdiction to resolve your dispute, where will the people go to? Are you saying that we should go to chaos a banana republic where they might, take control of everything. So it's a very sad day for this country. If you ask me, how do we revive this? You see, the answer is very difficult because, by way of appointment or how you get into the bench, it's in the hands of, like I said, those who had rubbished the judiciary. Because the truth is that the executive in this country, have power over every other organs of government in this country. To the extent that when we go to the how judges have been appointed, they said NJC. NJC, the governor will recommend, NJC will appoint. At the end of the day, it's the governor that appoint. Because what they recommend, the NJC doesn't reject.
Yeah, let me put it this way. There is this kind of tripartite control that is meant for these three arms of government to checkmate themselves. Yes, granted, that of judiciary is weak, and rightly so. One of the reasons is that they do not also, the intention of that tripartite control is to not allow the issue of control make the judges to deliver their, to do their work with fear or favor. Okay, that is why apart from appointment of the judges, there is no other control any other arm really have on the judiciary or on the judges themselves, apart from what we witnessed in the last time where Justice Onohe was suspended by the Buhari administration or something.
That's Onohe.
Yes.
So when you said
I'm coming. And people cried out. But you find out that the judiciary is there to control legislature and executive. The legislature is there to control the executive. Okay, and the executive is there to control judiciary only by appointing them. And once you have appointed them, you should have no other control. But unfortunately, that appointment appears to be a higher control than intended. I'll come back to you. I know you are. Okay. Let me allow you.
I want to say no to a large extent that the control is beyond the appointment.
Yeah.
The main control is the funding.
Well, assuming they are independent.
Yes. So the judiciary are not independent in any way. Because if I go to PK, cap in hand, begging for fund every month before I can run my office, there's no way PK will not determine how, if I on this table, if I must have recourse to go to PK before I speak, PK will determine what I will say to the public.
Okay, good.
So that's the problem.
Yeah, I agree with you. Good. Let me come to this. You see, if you remember back then in Obasanjo time, issues of National Assembly, even running their own expenses was a matter. Where Obasanjo said we have to buy a pen for you, we have to do everything for you, that what you need to do, your job is making laws and order and oversight. National Assembly said no, that they have their own administration. It took a hell of a fight for them, even the constituency project and all that. It took a hell of a fight. Now, the National Assembly, to a large extent, we call it budget padding. They do on and do now. But that of judiciary, how come they have not been able, no matter how you look at it, apart from maybe being in the good books of the president or whatever, the Senate president need not be in the good books of the president. Saraki did it almost for 4 years. Nobody did. He had cases of CCT, all the persecutions or whatever that you can see, but he was able to go through. Can judiciary stand up for themselves in terms of this independent financing, since we might not be able to remove the appointment completely, even though we think that appointment alone is also very strong? What do you think they can do?
Well, as it is right now, the judiciary cannot rescue themselves. And I also want you to look at what you said about control. This control is not only in this country. The executive always want to control, even in the great democracy of the world, America, the executive want to control both the legislature and the judiciary. They wish to. But they as a body are the one that tells themselves no.
That's why I say, how can this judiciary help themselves?
The judiciary right now, the way they are, somehow, some way, I think corruption crept in and make them fall. Before, you can't come out, I mean, a lawyer can attest to this. You can't finish a case that maybe was against you or something and go and sit the judge immediately, mingle with politicians.
And they are so known.
Very known. I I mean, you could see a judge work with a politician, talk to a politician publicly. A judge will not even want to be seen with a politician that has a case on that.
Okay, let me come. We have a governor that is currently serving as a minister. The issues of judiciary being not living up to expectation is not limited to his case, so we don't get it wrong. But to have him boasting about how he builds houses for the judges, sometimes he talks as if it's his personal money. In some form, he doesn't even know that discredits the judiciary, that the executive is building houses for the judges. And the judges are happy, saying he's taking good care of them. What is wrong with the judicial authority themselves? Because they are supposed to be co-equal arms of government. Why is Nigerian judiciary not really interested in their financial independence? Let it be that, oh, the appointment is the only control, because at least all the arm needs some form of control, no matter.
Two things. The first one is the appointment. In America, the judges are elected.
In some form,
some are appointed,
but it's confirmed by the Senate.
Yes. At that very high level.
Yes. But still appointed by the judiciary, by the executive.
Yes. So when you come to Nigeria here, the appointment, before now, even in this country, the judges were appointed by the executive, but they were independent.
Yes.
Because as at that time, they were appointed on merit. But today, it is not on merit, it is the
recommendation
that determines. It is
and here, the Senate do not have to.
No, we're talking about from the
they do not have to, like it's done in America.
Okay, fine. Before that, judges are appointed, they call it a lonely life.
Yeah.
Most lawyers doesn't want to go to the bench, because once you are in the bench, you are isolated.
Yes.
Like he rightly pointed out, the judges are no longer isolated. They socialize, they mingle,
go to parties.
They go to parties, they even go to clubs, and they have interaction with criminals and all of that. And some of them, per se, while they are in school, they belong to fraternity. And then when they become judges,
it becomes an avenue.
So there's so many things that is wrong. But the major thing that is the problem is the funding. You see, when you said the constitution is very clear, but nobody followed the constitution in total. The judiciary is supposed to have their money from the source.
Yes.
Not through budget or whatever. Same as the legislature.
Exactly.
And then the executive control the rest.
Yes.
But the reverse is the case here. Everybody goes to the executive to get it. This constitution is very clear. They were supposed to get their money from the source.
Even the one the legislature does here, we call it budget padding. We call it budget padding.
That's a different ballgame.
Yeah, we call it budget padding because the budget submitted by the executive is not what the budget ends up being at the end of the day.
Exactly.
The legislature have to add their own, and the people do not also see it like that.
So may I normally ask, why did the legislature not send in their budget, right, to before it gets to them back?
Why it is not even known?
That of the judiciary. You know, if you attest to it, the process has always been like this.
Yeah.
The executive will build. For example, there are places in this Abuja where you have judges' quarters. They build houses for judges and the judges move in. But the way it has become, it has looked as if they now have total control. That's why I said the issue of corruption has eaten so deep that we have stories in this, not just stories, evidential stories, where you have a registrar of a court has estates in this town. I'm not talking about in any other town. And that's all a part of judiciary.
Let's push it slightly to the society, because no matter how you look at it, these people are products of the society. This idea of having a nation where public servants are richer than businessmen, how did we arrive here? In those days, if you want to make money, you are somebody that loves money, nobody's going to take it away from you. They will tell you, go and do business. But if you want to serve the people, live a low-scale life. Maybe the entire family having one car in those days. If you see a family that has 504 with ACO, maybe you are that kind of a content person. They say, okay, you can join public service, which that's even civil servant. But now, civil servants go on the best Mercedes-Benz. In short, as a matter of fact, last 2 weeks, a serving minister went to somewhere with a Bentley. You know, how did we arrive here? Where somebody who wants to live a life of affluence
is a society. I've said it on this platform before that you don't give what you don't have. It is what the society have that is given to the judiciary, to the legislature, and to the executive. Today, as you are, if the government give you an appointment today, and you want to live an upright life, you
let them abuse.
Yes, but how many people want to be abused? Even your wife in your own house, your brother, your wife's sister, your whatever it is. So the problem is the society, really. Is the society. We have to be very frank with ourselves.
Okay, but let me ask you a question. Okay. Have you ever seen someone that was appointed a minister not have a reception? He will have a reception in Abuja here. He will have church Thanksgiving. He will go to his the day of inauguration of the Senate that doesn't have a reception.
About a few weeks ago, somebody was appointed. Is it Accountant General or what? When I saw the euphoria on the arrival and everything.
On whose money? On whose money?
On whose money?
On whose money?
And who encouraged that?
Who exactly? On whose money? And be commissioned in Abuja here now. For after a second year of the administration, you are going to see public
before.
But it has come to stay.
We saw it last time where we were putting canopies.
You are going to see more
to commission whatever.
Okay, you are going to.
Wasn't something that
it's going to be a fun fair.
Let's come back.
Yeah,
to the judges. So we are talking about the society
yeah.
and the judges. So now, a judge has been appointed. Oh, our son or our daughter has become a judge. Your brother or your sister has been appointed as a judge. Your brother or your son has been appointed in court. People start doing favor for you without, uncalled for.
Yeah.
Because they know what they are looking for. They said they are sowing a seed. The day they have a matter in that court, they will run to you. They want to reach your brother. Or the day you are going to visit your brother. I mean, it's going to take God to visit us to cleanse this society. We are in a very terrible situation in this country.
All right, let's move into real politics a little bit. There is this stakeholders meeting that was held in Kaduna the other day, and the governor of Kaduna, Obasani, was making it clear that Asiwaju has really performed very well, that there's going to be a landslide victory across the Northwest at least. For Asiwaju, and also that the insecurity problems has reduced very drastically. A lot of projects going on. Almost completed Abuja, Kaduna area. He mentioned a lot of projects, turning a hospital, general hospital in Kachia to Federal Medical Center and establishment
providing a
University of Science and Applied.
In Kaduna South.
Yes, in Kaduna South and all that. So he has a lot of barrage of projects he was mentioning that was going on, even that of Sokoto Badagry Expressway. He said that the performance, the president's performance and the president's presence in Northwest is not something anybody can wish away, that he's very confident the president will win on a landslide note. Do you think his appraisal of the performance of presidents at macro level, like we have always said, has trickled down to the micro system where the people can feel it, that people are now back to their farms, they can farm, without fear, they can travel. Yeah, that of travel between Kaduna and Abuja is reasonably, there is a reasonable improvement, no doubt about that. That one is very, very clear. I think we gave the credit to Asiwaju one time. But in some other micro indices like unemployment and, being able to sustain your business, a lot of other factors. Do you think that stakeholders' position is the way it is with the ordinary person in the street?
So that's Northwest, right?
Yes.
And so let's look at the state from the Northwest. Zamfara is from Northwest, am I correct?
Yeah.
Kebbi is from Northwest. Katsina is Northwest. Kano is Northwest. Jigawa is Northwest.
Kaduna
is Northwest. Now, the insecurity in Zamfara, Sokoto is in Northwest.
Kebbi is in Northwest.
Kebbi, thank you. I think they have about 7 states. Now, the insecurity we are seeing in Zamfara, Sokoto, and towards Katsina, all this border town, are they not part of Northwest?
Yeah.
Right? So if you are giving analysis, if they are giving us analysis, they should give us analysis across board. Now, the road from Kaduna to Kano, from Kaduna to Zaria, I heard is very good, but from Zaria to Kano, I heard is still not very good.
Okay.
And so many other parts. If most of these places were very secured, someone like Sule Lamido should have taken his book launch to attract people to
Jigawa. The money they spent in Abuja. I mean, it's
economically, it would have done a lot of things to reduce it. You understand? Zamfara is a no-go area till today. In fact, someone
we have something to.
There's a police commissioner. I don't know if you saw it. That in fact you saw it because you sent it to me. That talked about how they have arrested House of Assembly member.
State House of Assembly member.
Now the thing he said that caught my attention. He said it's now more business better for you to be a kidnapper than to serve in public office.
Yes, to be in a State House.
Of Assembly. Yeah. That means it's not something lucrative for them. Do you understand? Now, if we go through Northwest, I think off camera we're talking, most of the agitation we normally have, North and South, Christian and Muslim, these are the most baseless things that we're not supposed to talk about. Yes. Whether it's a Muslim that is there and we buy this cup at 10 naira, it will be better for us than for a Christian to be there and we're buying it 100 naira. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So we should take our arguments to not Christian, not Muslim, good governance. When Buhari was there,
but Obasani is saying that Asiwaju is giving them good governance, and they have no reason not to return.
Then let us see it on the micro level. Don't tell us bogus and victims.
All right, Philip, I want you to wade in. Oftentimes they say you watch a dance from where you are standing. Governor Obasani, I do not expect you to be unemployed as a governor. Is he really, when they say stakeholders meeting, do they extend that stakeholders meeting to the ordinary people in the street?
You see, I'm surprised we are taking this Obasani, stakeholder matter the way we are taking it, because we have said on this table that the ruling party, they've started campaign, and some of the Obasani language sounds like political campaign language. Yeah. And again, when you say the man has not performed in your eyes, but in the eyes of Obasani, the man has performed. One, he's the governor of Kaduna State. Number two, he has estranged his godmaster and political master, and now he's in charge. He's doing a very good job in Kaduna South by his assessment and to many others. So those are some of the performance of Tinubu government as far as it's concerned. To Obasani, Zamfara has been, security has improved to a large extent. Yeah. Whether you like it or not, that is his own assessment. The man is free to give his assessment. Yeah. So when he says they are going to give him his vote, I don't think Obasani had more than one vote to give to Tinubu on that day of election. But as a governor, maybe we have one or two persons that will toe his line. Again, you see, when a man said, this is my assessment, you can't fault him. That is his own opinion. But we in the public, we are seeing what is on ground. Yeah. So in Sokoto State, Sokoto had never had state of insecurity before now, but it was in this administration that we had that things are happening in Sokoto. I think a new terrorist group sprang up in Sokoto, and they were counter accusation on both sides, from the government, from the Niger Republic government, and all of that. So where do we go from there? For me, yes, to the APC, which Obasani belongs to, they are performing, and they are performing very well.
But conversely, the same APC in Zamfara State are actually calling on Dawda Lawa, their governor, who happens to come from PDP, that insecurity in Zamfara has worsened. This is APC, because they are in opposition in Zamfara, and Zamfara, like he said, is part of Northwest. They're actually calling on Governor Lawa that that he has failed his promises as he prepares for 2 years.
But have you heard his reply? Because he had a reply.
Yeah. No.
So, I'm coming to you.
So that's why I said, why are we even talking about this thing the way we talk about it now? That the APC government, they started campaign already. That the language of Obasani is a political campaign language, which the statement made by APC further confirm what I said.
Yes.
Because they are in opposition, they don't. The PDP, that the government in power, they see they have failed. You know, the man that had a clog in his eye can only see the other bad problem, that he has a problem with his eye. He doesn't see the one in his eye. As far as the APC is concerned, they are performing. It's only in Zamfara, which is not their territory,
Yes.
that insecurity has ravaged the land. Whereas Katsina State is APC, state.
Yes.
Meanwhile, we have series of insecurity, killing, and all of that in Katsina State. Nobody is speaking about that. Nobody has accused anybody of incompetence or failure to deliver on his campaign promises.
All right. Are they being sincere when they kind of find a way of sugarcoating the situation? We on our own has given Asiwaju some credit in insecurity. One, there is no body language showing that these terrorists are being pampered in terms of body language. Unlike what we had the last time, where Gumi was officially going to see these terrorists, snap picture with them, officially coming out, blame everybody he can blame in Nigeria, shout to anybody he could shout on in Nigeria. Tomorrow go back into the forest, he talk to these people who are killing people and kidnapping. He should actually be leading the Nigerian Armed Forces members to the place to get the terrorists out of that place, put them on trial if you were able to catch them alive, and then jail them forever. But that's behind us. We don't have that kind of reopen romance as it is today. And like Obasani said, Abuja of Kaduna, which I can speak of, has improved. But deep down in Zamfara, where APC themselves raised a voice against their governor, that he has failed his promises, that things have gone so bad. Then Obasani, Dauda Lawal responded. I want you to talk about
now. Dauda Lawal doesn't control the apparatus of coercion in this country. The apparatus of military, of force.
But let me not divert your attention. We spoke something like that the last time.
Yes.
And people said, when I was talking about, let's not bring it into this. When we were talking about El-Rufai that I said, in as much as you can't deny any governor of his body language,
yes,
the control of the forces still lies with the president.
So Dauda Lawal came up and said that they have done well in insecurity. But most of the time, when they point direction to where the issues are coming from, persons involved, sometime arrested, brought to Abuja, that is the end. Sometime never arrested. Sometime the matter is left off the hook. So what do you want him to do? He doesn't have the power to arrest and prosecute. The power lies within the military and the judiciary. For you to bring these people to book on his administration. That's why a lot of people are calling for state police. Now, I'm actually appalled or surprised the fact that someone like the president that we have now has always campaigned for state police. I thought it would be a top burner issue when it comes to bear. Now, as a result of that, what do you want the man to do? What do you want Dauda Lawal to do when he doesn't have the instrument of punishment, of coercion, of force? I mean, protecting the territorial integrity of this country lies with who? It lies with the federal government.
If you also move to northeast, where Borno State, where Zulum.
Okay, can I ask you one question?
Go ahead.
Has Zulum not been crying?
Yeah.
Is he not from NPC?
Even the last time what's the name of this local government? Marte or was it?
Yes.
Marte.
That they are falling?
That Marte local government is almost gone. He was calling on the military, calling on Nigerians, to respond so they don't lose out the entire.
In fact, they at a particular point, they said Zulum is a fake wolf cry that he was calling, that there was no wolf.
There were records.
That was the first time.
Yes.
Before everything now went gaga.
Yeah.
So what about Katsina State? Because we are not talking about Northeast, we are talking about the Northwest.
Yes.
No, we can tell you.
Where Obasani is saying that the man has performed incredibly well and they are going to give him overwhelming vote. But here is Katsina State, the home of the former president, the immediate past president. We have had cases of series of terrorist attacks. Katsina is a different part of the
Northwest.
Northwest where they have performed so credibly.
Even apart from the Northwest, we also have it on record on Marte on the brink. I want us to talk about the Northeast now, moving from that Northwest. Because all of them are not uncommon. You know the last time we were talking about re-election of Asiwaju, the entire North, ACF, even Yakasa still said it recently, though he's a very old man, that the odds still favors Asiwaju. Meanwhile, the ACF said they have not decided. Okay, so we are looking at the entire North moving. We have talked about Northwest. Let's move to the Northeast, which I was telling him about what Governor Zulum said. The insecurity at Marte local government, about 300. He said it's made up about 300, made up with 300 villages and whatever. That they have only one major town left to fall. Now, if you have such insecurity at a place like that, how do you think the other places, both neighboring or whatever, will say the president has done so well in the insecurity?
It's a very interesting thing. You know, the baffling thing is that the vice president, the city vice president from Borno State, has been a governor of Borno State.
Was a senator.
So I think if any other place need to be secured in the north, in the entire north, Borno should be one of them. Having the vice president coming from there. But here we are in Borno. You know, even the heydays of Buhari, as terrible as this security were then, Zulu stood high when he came into office.
And tall.
And he fought this security to a standstill. So for me, I don't know what is happening in Borno State, whether there's a renewed offense by the terrorists from that angle, and whether the military has relaxed the activities in Borno State, I cannot explain. But what we do know is that the insecurity state in Borno State has taken a new dimension from what it used to be, and is very, very terrible. Like as the governor has cried out, as you have read that, for entire local government, only one time is remaining, which means Boko Haram or terrorists has taken over the entire local government. And that is the one they mentioned. We are not talking about other pockets of time that they've taken over.
Okay, the governor made a statement that he was ready to support the armed forces. He acknowledged their presence because they helped them recently to repel their attacks and still restore some sanity. He said he is ready to give them any help they need. What help can the governor offer to these people? Because most of the times their challenges are issues of probably the kind of ammunition these terrorists come with, things that is not expected to be in the hands of ordinary person. I mean, they come with very lethal weapons. I mean, how can the governor come in to help in this?
Let me first of all talk about Buhari. Buhari was an enabler. Buhari was an enabler.
That's why I said that credit we can give to Asiwaju.
Yes.
I've not seen Asiwaju's body language trying to pamper terrorists.
But let me also tell you that of Asiwaju.
Yeah.
The one of Asiwaju is politics.
Yeah.
There are people he tries to pamper and think that maybe it can be negotiated through. No, it doesn't have to be a forced thing. Now, America has a policy of non-negotiating with terrorists.
You can't.
You're a terrorist. You're a terrorist. And the issue about terrorism is that they are people of ideology. You can't dissuade my ideology. Sometimes people even know that their ideology is wrong, but they want to follow it to the end.
That's right.
We've heard people of how they were taken to the desert and say, if you drink a poison, you go and meet Jesus now. And they all drank poison. I mean, it's an ideology. You can't remove them from that. You cannot bring these people back to the society and say that you are rehabilitating them. Most of them that came back are spies. They just came to understudy and went back. I'm telling you, that's the resurgency that we are seeing now from these terrorists as a result of that. The one you say you are rehabilitating, they can't be rehabilitated. Those are the major issues that we have in Maiduguri and its metropolis at the moment. The moment you tell them you want to negotiate with them, for example, during the time of Masari, we saw terrorists come to a meeting with their AK-47.
Yeah.
Whoever does that, you can't do that. This one is saying we are ready.
We'll give or take. Tinubu's body language has not shown the cast we saw.
But we
must do well. So let's move a little bit. Still talking about Tinubu. Wike contested the election for 2023, in the primaries before he ended up supporting Asiwaju during the election because of one thing. He believed it was a time for the South to produce a president. And he has come out to say that he will not contest against also the incumbent, knowing that there's no point. If you remove the incumbent, that means that the party has not performed. So now, do you see some consistencies in Wike by not coming out to contest against him?
There's no consistency. They just look at what favors him and he picked it. What's favoring him right now is that somehow he's one of the top government officials that we have, and he's calling the shot.
He's not the president.
It doesn't matter. But for example, if he goes for the presidency right now, under which party?
He's a PDP man.
He's a PDP man. The PDP, will he go there and get something? On this table,
the most prominent person in PDP today is Wike.
But we won't also say that there's no problem in the PDP.
Even though
if they have election right now, will he garner a lot of votes?
Yes.
That your assertion.
All right. Do you see some consistency, or it's just because he was somebody who sincerely wanted to be president. He invested in the election of 2023. As a matter of fact, if not that Tambo has stepped down for Atiku at a dying minute, most likely he would have gotten that ticket. So do you see some consistency of believing, because this same consistency, El-Rufai is showing it in some form. Today, El-Rufai still believes that the South can still come for one tenure. When you go with consistency, people tend to understand you. And like it's often said, even though you call somebody your friend or your enemy, you want somebody you can understand. It's better. Even an enemy you can predict is still better. Do you see some consistency with Wike?
Wike is a very sleepy individual. Wike has said today that he will not run against the person he's working for.
Yeah.
This is language. Wike has told us that he cannot leave malaria and go to a situation where he will have cancer. Same Wike.
But all of them can kill you.
So if Wike tells me today that he will not run against Asiwaju, I will take it with a pinch of salt, because tomorrow, if the indices appear to be different, Wike can turn around to say he's going to run. So Wike.
But let me bring you.
You're talking about consistency.
So that we are talking to the people.
Yes.
Wike said he cannot leave PDP and join APC.
Yes.
That you cannot leave malaria and join cancer. Wike has not joined APC.
Yes, Wike, you see.
Wike has not joined APC.
When you say Wike has not joined APC, is PDP in existence by virtue of Wike activity in the PDP.
So
Wike has practically killed the PDP for APC, because the truth is that.
But he has not joined APC.
Yeah, well, he has not pronounced that he has joined APC.
There's nothing like pronouncing.
We cannot say.
For somebody that is congratulating and hailing somebody else that you took the right choice by joining APC.
Yes. Somebody who deprived him the ticket of the PDP to run, the vice presidential ticket, his enemy.
Take note. I'm not saying Wike is not playing politics.
I am saying to you that you asked me if by his activity, if I can take Wike to be somebody who is consistent. And I have said to you, Wike has told me that he will not live where malaria is and join cancer. Wike has also said that he cannot, fight, Tinubu. I said, if the indices turns tomorrow, for the Wike I know, and from the utterances that always come from his mouth, Wike has said Odile and his wife made it. The same Wike has thrown jab at Odile and his wife. So Wike is somebody who is very consistent in Kamala.
In inconsistency. Yes, he's consistent in inconsistency.
Yeah, you got the language
right.
Exactly.
All right, let's just say he becomes consistent in inconsistency.
Yes.
If Wike, for any reason, changes tomorrow, and maybe Asiwaju can even with Asiwaju's consent, it could happen. Say, go and run with PDP. Maybe something like division of vote. There are many gimmicks to politics. If close to 2027, the electoral map changes in some form that they know that Wike can take some votes out of certain candidates, who might be tilted to vote for certain candidate, but will vote Wike. Do you think Wike can do that, not minding what he has promised now? Whether with concept of Asiwaju.
He can do that, but he will not win. Because in politics, all the cards are on the table. Yeah. Now, it could be that the reason it's going for the candidature of the PDP.
Okay, let me put it this way. Yeah. If we get to 2027,
2026.
2027. Okay. 2027. I will have all Southern candidates.
Yes.
When you have all Southern candidates, all Northern candidates, at least a major one, there's always too many others on the background that score 50 votes, 30 votes, not those ones. So we have all Southern major candidates.
Yes.
Do you think Wike will stand a chance if he decides to run?
No.
You don't believe that?
Not for any reason. Wike won't even get the candidature or the candidacy of PDP to come and run. Okay. The way PDP is right now, though his leg is on the neck of PDP, but the legs and hands will still fight Wike. Okay, will not get.
Let's go back to a little bit of what he said the other day. We didn't take it serious, and we didn't even discuss it. But a lot of people are beginning to read more meanings to it. He said, that's Wike. He said he is not fighting Fubara. Is that a statement of just still trying to get, to see, consolidation, peaceful reconciliation movement, to water the ground and then let people still see them as friends and things like that? That is only fighting those who are deceiving Fubara. But we don't know those who are deceiving Fubara.
He mentioned them.
Specifically?
Yes.
Who are they?
One, Omeha. At least I heard him because the interviewer asked him. Yeah. He said people like the Omeha, and he mentioned them. Okay. Do you understand? They are trying to turn his attention. Now, if you saw Wike's expression, if you could read body language, Wike said, they asked him, you are Fubara? He said, it's my son, it's my son. Yeah. It's all different from the way if you mentioned Fubara before. Yeah. As in, it was his academy. He said, he came here, this is where he sat down.
So those were just
so now you could see,
normalize environment.
He also said something. He said, the president called me and said, go and settle. Yeah. He said it was based on that. Those two governors that are from APC brought him here. He said, this is where he sat down. He said, the other day he also called me and I greeted him and I told him, how is your wife? How are your children? So something is coming on board. Yeah. Of course, concessioning is being made somewhere. Okay. And like you said, we don't actually know what they're fighting over.
Exactly. So he said, Philip, let me get this to you. Wike made a statement, according to what he said, and I'm mentioning those names, which I was trying to avoid anyway, that these people want to reap where they did not sow. Yes. When you say people want to reap where they did not sow, it gives us of making governance a transactional thing. It gives us a feeling of, there are political benefits, that are appointing my friend, doing all that, but it gives us the idea of, you want to invest and recoup. What does it mean by reaping where you didn't sow?
No, the case of Wike is very clear because as much as I do that, Wike single-handedly funded Fubara's election.
Yes.
Every single individual on earth is a businessman. And if you invest your money, you don't just
your money. You just say something. Your money.
You expect returns.
Your money.
Yes, I'm coming to where you're going.
Yes.
You may say the people's money.
Yes.
But at that point, Wike is in charge of the money. He has invested it. He expects returns. And that is why he said, he's not fighting his son. Fubara is my son, is my boy. I'm fighting those
who are deceiving,
who are giving him fake. Because if Wike has invested the people's money on Fubara, he expected a kind of return to the people, not through the Omeha and others who do not know how the money were invested. Yes. And to a large extent, they actually fought against this Fubara measure. So to a large extent, we will give it to Wike that yes, on this, he said what is right. The truth is that peace is paramount. If that what will bring out peace, and now that before that we don't know what was the cause, but he has told us that look, Fubara is not the cause, it's those who are trying to reap for where they are the cause. And if Fubara has come to realize that these people are actually trying to reap for where they do not sow, and Wike is the person that invested the people money on him, then let peace reign and let Rivers people enjoy the democracy every other state is enjoying.
Okay. I would like to weigh on this a little bit, just a little. If Wike is saying they want to reap what they did not sow. Who started the party in Rivers State? Was it Wike? Celestine Omeha, to his credit, was governor at a point. If he wasn't that important, he couldn't have been. The time Celestine Omeha was governor, Wike couldn't have been mentioned to ascend to governorship status. And other people he mentioned, they built it. They didn't build it at this particular time for 8 years. Yes. But he built on a superstructure. There was a superstructure before we came. Come on. Odili will be credited with it. Rufus Ada George has always been there. Odili has been there. Okay, from there, maybe
Amechi was
there 8 years before he came. 16 years of democracy before he came. And he will say that they want to build
I think Wike is part of the building because we shouldn't forget his.
No, we didn't say he's not part of the building.
No, when you say they build it, Wike was part of the building because the Omeha story is known to us. It is also obvious. It's also known to us that it is Wike that fought the amazing battle to bring in Amazing in as a governor. So you cannot say it's a neophyte in the PDP sector.
No.
Other people were there. Other people have
He's saying that they want to reap where they did not sow. I'm saying that.
What he is saying in this investment.
This investment,
the people money invested in Fubara, they did not show it. So they didn't come.
Brother, it is money. It is not state money.
He said the people's money. He invested. He expected the result for the people.
Let's go to people's money. Real people's money that we are sure of. SERAP have given ultimatum to NNPCL to tell us what happened to 500 billion naira unremitted. That World Bank just came up and said from 1.1 trillion naira, 500 billion was not remitted. SERAP has given, they're actually calling on the new chief of GMD of NNPC to initiate investigation and report to Nigerian people what happened with the 500 billion, or if they were remitted, what happened to it, that they have record of 600 billion, but not of 500 billion. You know, when we talk about people's money, the people reserves the right to know what is happening to their money. They have given them ultimatum. Do you think NNPC will respond to this? Or they are going to wait, because SERAP said they will sue them if they don't respond.
Okay, I wish I don't talk about this matter, but we have to talk about it. Now, we have seen how people have flagrantly disrespected either court agencies and all whatnot. The last GMD carry, he has been called to come and defend or talk about it. He has not. Now you are calling the new guy to come and defend. What will he defend what he doesn't know about? Of course, he will say it's a structure that everybody will know how the structure is. But to me, what I will say, these matters will be swept under the carpet. But let's just wait a short time.
You are saying it will be swept under the carpet, or it should be swept under the carpet?
No, it will.
It will, okay. I was going to call EFCC to talk to you. Okay, yeah.
You know, my view is simple. You see, SERAPs, for me, they are just busybody. How many cases have they won in the law court?
Yeah.
Just making noise.
But do they have reasonable cause to make this noise?
Well, yes, they have reasonable cause, but I don't think the cause is being made properly. Because if you know that the court will not give you what you want, there are other avenues that they don't exploit anymore. There are avenues they can exploit to get results.
Okay.
They are they are, what do you call them? They are civil society organizations.
Yes.
So they can, as a matter of fact, organize disobedience because of this action and get the faster result than to go to court that you will not get anything from. We have just discussed the judiciary. Who controls the judiciary?
And apart from even the control, would they have sufficient data to make their case?
Exactly.
Do they when you face the judge, you have to face the judge with evidence.
With evidence.
Not hearsay.
Facts and figures.
Facts and figures. Not hearsay.
Do they even have the locals?
So, no, yes. So, not hearsay or... So,
they should exploit a better alternative than to tell me they are going to court to sue. To sue to do what? They are just busybody making noise for them to be seen. If they want to do something, they call themselves civil society. And what does civil society do? When there's something that is wrong, they organize civil disobedience according to the law.
All right.
Now, if that's civil disobedience, people call it civil disobedience, but it's actually like a protest.
Yeah, that's
yes,
some form. It's
yes,
a
some form. You know, people like to discredit it by calling it civil disobedience. I don't know if you understand.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be. If it's according to the law, it's not disobedience.
That's what you're saying. It's like half empty, half full.
Exactly.
It's just how you want to see it. But do you think these civil societies are now capable? Because this fight, let me tell you, it's not really the fight of SERAP. It's a Nigerian fight. If truly, you know, like it's been reported, because it's true, they are quoting IMF, they are quoting the World Bank, you know, saying this was not remitted. It's not something that should be difficult to organize. But why do you think Nigerians don't respond to civil disobedience?
What do you mean, Nigerians? Now, I know you've been long enough to know what happened in 89,
Yes.
93, SAP riot, and all those stuff. Where are those CSOs now? They're all gone. Now, where fuel was raised from 165 to more than 1,200 or about 1,200. Who came out? Do you ever see any
come out to talk about minimum wage? How many Nigerians work for government?
Exactly.
How many Nigerians are working for government?
What percentage of Nigerians work for government?
Exercise that was leading to nothing.
And that's why I said they are busybodies. All those who were involved in activism in the 90s and the early 2000s, they are in government now. They are the ones suppressing protests. So,
especially on Onuga.
So these ones that are also saying that they are going to court, if one day they find themselves in power, they will do worse. Like you said, that we are not concerned about those who are in government today. It is those who will replace them, because they will be the society is getting rotten every day. They will get it will get worse, except God, by infinite mercy, decide to show mercy.
All right,
you know, the other day that Shore came here, I asked him, you were quite young, like 2021, when you started activism and all that. I said, how many people can you count and still in that activism status? And he tried to look for, and now how many people are we raising? And now the student unions that we have, they are all a stooge of government. And have you ever had any nonsense protest recently? No.
Wow, this is interesting.
The one that tried to come up is easy.
Are you sure he tried to come up?
It's not very clear to
no,
us.
No, right now, from allegedly what we are hearing
we don't have the
is that
complete
he's
story.
with DSS.
We don't have the complete
Yeah, we don't have
story.
that's why I say allegedly.
Yeah, we don't have the complete story, so we might not be able to get into details into that. So, unfortunately, we have a lot to discuss, but we may have to leave them for maybe tomorrow's News Insight or some other programs. Thank you guys for being around, and our viewers, thank you for hanging on. This is Still Matters Arising. Until tomorrow, goodbye.